Let's analyse it for you all now. Then our international affairs editor, Philip Turle, is joining me here on set. Philip, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, pretty much certain now. I know we've been saying that for a while, but it's even more certain it's a 2020 rematch.
Shall we put it this way, Stuart? I think this is the best way of summing this up is that all of this Super Tuesday is stuck to the script from A to Z. And what we're seeing now is pretty much a clear path for both candidates, Donald Trump on one side and Joe Biden on the other, to win their respective party nominations after Super Tuesday, and within the next couple of weeks, I think, is what being put forward by analysts. So not really any major problem for either candidate as far as winning their respective party nominations. But if you look at what people think in the United States about the fact that they are seeking election and re-election, Donald Trump, 56% of Americans don't want him to run. 70% don't want Joe Biden to seek a new mandate, and 67% overall want new candidates for this election, which just goes to show that there's not an awful lot of support for those two candidates running again, even though that is what they're going to do. And if you look at the opinion polls in the US as to who is likely to win this election, Donald Trump's on 52%, Joe Biden on 48%. This varies very much depending on which polling institute you're looking at. Some are putting Joe Biden in the lead by a point or 2 points. Some are putting the two neck and neck in the opinion polls. So it's going to be a very close race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump when push comes to shove for the presidential elections in November. So that's more or less a takeaway after the polling in Super Tuesday. No real change in what we've been saying over the past couple of days about the fact that two men are going to receive enough support to get their party nominations later this year. Super Tuesday's out the way, and the two main candidates are still in the race.
Philip, there's no way is there we could get a total shock here. I mean, both men have their problems. There's no way that either of them might pull out, is there?
No, I don't think there's any way that either is going to pull out. I think that the first point is that there are problems they both have. As far as Donald Trump is concerned, we all know he has legal problems. He's got financial problems. He's got 91 charges against him and 4 criminal cases. Well, they may change some people's view about whether they want to vote for him when the elections come along in November. He also faces a $454 million judgment and another $83 million judgment over Jean Carolina rape case against the journalist. So he's strapped for cash. As far as Joe Biden is concerned, there's all these questions about his age and his mental ability to do the job. He's the oldest sitting US president. And also another couple of problems that he's run into, the uncommitted votes, the protests that first of all happened in Michigan and then again yesterday in Minnesota, where 20% put an uncommitted vote in the box. Biden's also lost a Democratic caucus you were mentioning earlier on in American Samoa to Jason Palmer, who got 51% of the vote to 40%. And one other thing that Joe Biden could be a little bit worried about is that quite a lot of young black and Hispanic voters are beginning to turn their back on him because of the way he is apparently supporting Israel in the Gaza war. And they say that Joe Biden is not doing enough to bring that war to an end. And many people are beginning to turn their backs on him and move in favor of voting for Donald Trump.
And of course, the next big thing that everyone's going to be watching for now is Nikki Haley, whether she's going to pull out or not.
That is the big question. And I don't think anybody can actually answer that question apart from Nikki Haley herself right now, because she's been under tremendous pressure, basically from the Trump team, to give up the campaign and to just stand down and let Donald Trump take all of the vote. She's said she's not going to do that. She's even said, look, I've knocked all the men out of this race. There's just one man left I have to knock out, and we all know who that is. Well, she hasn't managed to do that. She won yesterday, one state, Vermont. She won Washington, D.C., so 2 small victories for her. She didn't win Virginia or Maine, where she was expected to do quite well. What she has done, though, is she has pulled into her own camp more moderate Republicans, more educated Republicans who don't really want Donald Trump to be elected president of the United States, who are not Trump fans. And I think what she's trying to do is to say, this could be a warm-up for me for 4 years from now when I'm going to try to run again. And if Trump loses the election in November, she'll be able to say, well, look, I told you so. This was going to happen. You didn't listen. If I had been the sole running candidate face to face with Joe Biden, I would have won the election. You didn't listen to me, so that's why I should be your candidate in 4 years' time. The problem is what we don't know is Nikki Haley going to become an independent candidate, or is she going to remain in the Republican Party, where she's being quite ostracized by the Make America Great Again Donald Trump supporters who would not want to vote for her in 4 years' time? If she becomes an independent candidate, it's going to be very difficult for her to run face-to-face with a Republican who will be opposite her and a Democrat. So that is quite difficult. I think her main aim right now, Stuart, is to try to pull away that support from Donald Trump, as I was saying, of the more moderate Republicans in the more democratic orientated states in the United States, which will seriously undermine Donald Trump's chances of being elected to the White House in November. So all of that we'll have to see, but no sign for the moment that Nikki Haley is willing to throw in the towel and to give up this campaign. I think we'll know a bit more about that in the next few days.
Yeah, exactly. The next 24 hours or so. One to follow, of course. Philip, thanks very much. Philip Turle, International Affairs Editor. You may